The night was quiet in the colony. The long halls of the space station hummed with soft machines, and the stars outside floated like cold lanterns in the dark sky. Inside his small room, the human named Daniel tried to sleep. He lived far away from Earth, working as a simple technician in the outer rim station. Life here was lonely but safe. At least that was what he believed. Daniel lay on his bed, closing his eyes, when he suddenly felt it again. The strange weight pressing on his chest. At first he thought it was only his tired body playing tricks on him, but the feeling grew heavier, warmer, almost like arms circling around him. His heart began to beat faster, the air grew tight, and he whispered into the shadows, "Who's there?" But no answer came, only the soft sound of breathing near his ear. He forced his eyes open, and what he saw made his breath catch. A figure not human, not from this world, was clinging tightly to him, her arms wrapped around his chest, her head buried against his shoulder. Her skin glowed faintly with silver light. Her hair fell in strands like threads of moonlight, and her eyes, though closed, carried a strange peace, as if she belonged there holding him, as if this was natural for her. Daniel froze, too shocked to push her away. He had seen alien species before, yes, but never one so close. Never one inside his private quarters. She was slender yet strong, her grip unshakable, her body warm like fire against his cold skin. He whispered again, this time louder, "What are you doing here?" But she did not answer. Instead, she pressed closer, breathing softly, almost like a child clutching a toy in the dark. Minutes passed and confusion turned into fear. Why was she here? How did she enter? And why did she hold him so tightly? Daniel tried to pull her arms away, but her strength surprised him. She clung harder, whispering words in a language he barely understood. It sounded like, "Soft, safe, mine." A shiver went down his spine. He had no idea what she wanted, but there was no anger in her grip, only desperation, like she could not let go even if she tried. He lay still, listening to her breathing, wondering if this was a dream or some cruel trick of his mind. The night stretched on and she did not move. Daniel's thoughts raced. Should he call security? Should he fight? Or should he wait and see what this creature wanted? Part of him feared her strength, but another part felt pity. She was holding him not with violence, but with need. Slowly, sleep pulled at his tired eyes, and even with her weight on him, he drifted into uneasy dreams when the morning came. Daniel opened his eyes to the pale light of the station lamps. He looked to his side and his heart jumped. She was still there, clinging as if the night never ended, her arms tight, her face calm. He carefully moved his hand, trying to wake her. "Hey, you need to leave," he said softly, but her grip only grew stronger. Her eyes opened at last, glowing like twin oceans, deep and alien, yet filled with a strange innocence. "You are warm," she said in broken English, her voice soft. "You are soft." "I cling." Daniel stared at her. Lost for words, this was no ordinary encounter. This was the start of something he did not understand. Throughout the day he could not forget it, even after she vanished without a sound, leaving his bed empty and his chest free. His mind echoed with her words, "Soft, safe, mine." That night, Daniel locked his door, checked every system, made sure no one could enter. But when he lay down, he felt it again, the same warmth, the same arms wrapping around him, and there she was, clinging tighter than before, as if afraid he would disappear. This time he did not struggle, he only whispered, "Why me?" But she closed her eyes and pressed her forehead to his, answering only with silence and steady breath. Daniel realized then this was not an accident, not a mistake. Something deeper was happening, something he could not yet see. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, his heart filled with questions, and his mind caught between fear and wonder. Who was she? Why did she choose him? And what did it mean when an alien clung to a human like he was her only comfort? The stars outside the station kept shining, cold and endless, but inside his room he was no longer alone, and Daniel knew, with a mix of dread and curiosity, that this was only the beginning. Daniel did not sleep well that second night. Every time his eyes closed, he felt her arms tighten. The alien girl pressed against him like she was afraid of the dark, her breath warm on his skin, her body trembling in small waves. When the alarm rang in the morning, she did not move. She clung harder. As if the noise meant nothing, Daniel had to push gently, whispering that he needed to get up. Only then did she slowly open her glowing eyes. For a moment, their gaze met. Her eyes held a strange mix of pride and weakness, like a creature that had fought many battles yet still carried fear. "You are warm," she said again, her voice broken but steady. "I cling, I live." Daniel sat up, trying to understand why me, why humans. What are you doing in my room every night? The alien tilted her head, her silver hair sliding across her shoulders like flowing water. She hugged her knees to her chest and whispered, "My kind, we cannot rest alone, we need to cling without it. We break." Her words sent a shiver through Daniel. This was not only strange habit, this was survival. He asked carefully, "What happens if you don't cling?" Her lips trembled. Her voice grew lower. "We fall into the dark. We lose mind, body fails, we die slow." Daniel stared in silence. The meaning hit him like cold wind. This creature was depending on him, not out of choice but out of need. She had chosen him, a human stranger, as her only anchor. But why, he wondered, why not one of her own kind? Why risk sneaking into a human's quarters? The alien lowered her eyes as if reading his thoughts. "My people gone," she said. "War took them, fire burned, I am last here. No kin left." Her fingers clenched the fabric of his blanket, her body shook. "Humans, soft, safe, I see you, I cling." Daniel felt torn. Part of him wanted to pull away, to call security and report this strange invasion. But another part felt heavy pity. She was alone, broken, desperate for comfort, and somehow she had found it in him. Still, he could not let this continue without answers. You can't just sneak in every night. People will notice, they will ask questions, and they don't trust your kind. At his words, she lifted her head sharply, her glowing eyes narrowing. "They will not take me if they try, I fight. I cling harder." Her voice was soft but carried hidden steel. Daniel swallowed, realizing she was not weak at all. Her grip last night proved her strength. If she wanted, she could break his ribs, yet she held him gently, like a fragile thing she refused to crush. The day passed. Daniel worked in the station, fixing machines and wires, but his mind returned again and again to her words. "Without clinging, we break." When the evening came, he locked his door tighter than before. Yet when he turned, she was already there, as if locks meant nothing. Sitting quietly on his bed, waiting, he sighed. "You're not going to stop, are you?" Her head shook slowly. "No stop, never. I cling to life." This time Daniel did not resist. He sat down beside her, studying her closely. Her silver skin shimmered in the soft lights. Her frame looked delicate, but her presence filled the room with hidden energy. "Tell me more," he asked. "What are you called?" "What is your name?" She hesitated, then whispered, "Lyra." The sound of her name carried strange beauty. Soft and sharp at the same time, Daniel repeated it. And she smiled faintly. "Yes. Lyra, I cling to you, Daniel." The way she said his name startled him. He had never told her, yet somehow she knew, perhaps from the station records, or perhaps she had been watching long before she first entered. He wondered if he should fear her, but when she leaned closer, resting her head on his shoulder like a child, fear faded, replaced by a deep unease mixed with warmth. The night grew quiet again, but Daniel's thoughts grew louder. This alien Lyra was not just strange. She was dangerous in her need. If anyone discovered her, they might try to remove her, to test her, maybe even destroy her. Yet she had chosen him, trusted him, and every time she held on, he could feel her trembling slow, her breathing calm, as if he was the only thing keeping her alive. Before sleep took him, Daniel asked one last question. "Lyra, why me? There are many humans here." "Why not someone else?" She pressed closer, whispering. "Because you did not fear me when I touched. You did not push me into the dark, you let me stay, that is enough. You're mine." Daniel closed his eyes, his chest heavy with questions, his mind filled with worry, and yet a small part of him felt a strange comfort too. The stars outside the window looked sharp and endless. But in his room, two different worlds had already collided. And as Lyra clung to him that night, Daniel began to realize the truth. This was no accident. No random encounter. This was the start of a bond he could not escape, and maybe, just maybe, he did not want to. Daniel tried to live his days as if nothing had changed, but every morning his body told a different story. His shoulders ached from the weight of her embrace. His chest carried the warmth of her touch, and his mind carried the echo of her words. "You are mine." At work, he moved through the station corridors, fixing panels and checking circuits, yet his thoughts kept circling back to her. To Lyra, the alien girl who clung to him every night. The colony was small, and nothing stayed secret for long. His tired eyes, his distracted steps, people noticed, a coworker joked. "You look like someone's keeping you up all night." Daniel forced a smile but said nothing. If anyone discovered the truth, they would not understand, they would fear her. maybe even try to take her away that evening. When Daniel returned to his quarters, he found her waiting as always. She sat on his bed, knees pulled to her chest, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light, like two moons staring back at him. "You came back," she whispered, her voice carrying both relief and fear. "I live here," Daniel muttered, trying to sound calm, but inside he felt torn. He wanted to tell her to stop, to leave, to give him back his life. But when he saw the way her hands trembled, the way her chest rose and fell too quickly, he could not say the words. Instead, he sat beside her. "Lyra, this can't go on forever. People will notice. They will ask questions." Her eyes darkened. Her arms reached out, and before he could move, she pulled him into her embrace, her voice sharp with desperation. "They cannot take me. I cling, I survive, you stay. Or I break." Her grip was stronger than iron, yet filled with fear. Daniel felt his heart pound against his ribs. He was not a soldier, not a hero, just a man trying to live quietly, and yet this strange bond was dragging him into something far larger. "Why me?" he whispered again, the question that haunted him. "Why not someone else?" "Anyone else," she pressed her forehead against his, her voice trembling. "Because you listen, because you do not throw me away, because when I cling, you let me live." Daniel closed his eyes, trying to block out the storm in his chest. Part of him wanted to push her away, to escape this burden, but another part, small, stubborn, and growing, wanted to protect her, to keep her from that breaking darkness she feared. It was a cruel choice, and it weighed on him heavier each night. The following days only made it worse. Rumors spread in the colony halls. Some said Daniel had been hiding something. Others whispered about strange sounds in the night, shadows in the corridor. One evening his neighbor stopped him. "Strange things are happening, have you seen it?" "The silver glow in the halls?" Daniel forced a laugh, shaking his head, but his palms sweated. He knew exactly what they were seeing. That night when Lyra clung to him again, Daniel spoke firmly. "You can't keep sneaking around. Someone saw you. If they find you here, it won't end well." Her grip only tightened, her voice heavy with sorrow. "Then I never leave, I stay. Always." Her words should have frightened him, yet they filled him with something else. A strange warmth mixed with fear. Over time, Daniel noticed more. Every night her hold changed. Sometimes soft like a child needing comfort, sometimes desperate like a drowning soul clinging to the last breath, and sometimes fierce, as if she was guarding him from unseen enemies in the dark. One night, as she held him tightly, he felt her body shake violently. Her voice broke into a whisper. Fire screams gone. All gone. Daniel realized she was dreaming, trapped in memories of war. Her nails dug into his skin, but he did not push her away. He only whispered softly, "It's all right. You're safe now." And slowly her trembling eased. The more he saw, the harder it became to choose. Should he risk his own safety to protect her, or turn her in before the colony discovered her? Every path led to danger, but one led to her breaking completely, and Daniel could not erase the look in her eyes when she begged him not to let go. One evening, as the lights dimmed in his quarters, she looked at him with a rare sadness, her voice soft. "If they take me, I will not last, Daniel. Promise me, do not let them." He wanted to say no, to refuse the weight of her trust, but the words stuck in his throat. Instead, he nodded slowly, though fear burned inside him. In that moment, Daniel knew the choice was no longer his. The bond had already taken root. The stars outside the window shone cold and endless, but inside his room a war was growing, not between armies, but inside Daniel's heart. He was caught between duty and compassion, fear and mercy, survival and trust, and every night, when Lyra clung to him like he was her last hope, he wondered how much longer he could carry this secret before the whole colony noticed. One truth echoed in his mind, louder each night. This was not only her survival anymore, this was becoming his too. The colony was a small world in itself, hundreds of humans living side by side in narrow halls, breathing the same recycled air, eating the same meals, following strict routines to keep life safe in the endless dark of space. Secrets rarely stayed hidden for long, and Daniel knew it was only a matter of time before someone noticed more than whispers and shadows. One morning, as Daniel walked through the maintenance sector, 2 officers stopped him, their faces serious. "We've had reports," one said, "of unusual activity near your quarters. People claim to see a glow, to hear strange sounds at night." Daniel forced his voice to stay calm. "Maybe just faulty lights. I'll check the wiring." But their eyes narrowed. They did not seem convinced that night when Lyra appeared again. Sliding into his room like a shadow wrapped in silver, Daniel confronted her. This can't keep going. They're starting to notice. If they catch you here, they won't understand. They'll treat you as a threat. Lyra's glowing eyes flickered with something sharp, her grip on him stronger than usual. They will not take me, Daniel, if they try. I fight, her voice carried quiet rage. And for the first time, Daniel realized just how dangerous she could be. She was not only a girl seeking comfort, she was a survivor of war, a being with strength beyond human limits. But he also saw the fear beneath her anger, fear of being alone again, fear of being cast back into that breaking darkness she spoke of. The next day, Daniel was summoned to the council chamber. The leaders of the colony sat in a circle, stern faces watching him. One of them spoke. There have been sightings, and some believe an alien has been moving freely at night. Your section is at the center of these reports. Explain yourself. Daniel's throat tightened. He wanted to deny everything, but before he could speak, the doors hissed open and Lyra stepped inside. Gasps filled the chamber. Guards raised their weapons. The glow of her silver skin lit the room like a second sun, but she did not run. She did not hide. She only walked to Daniel's side and clung to his arm. Her voice steady. I cling, I live, no harm. The council leader's voice thundered. What is this creature? Why is she here? Why is she with you? Daniel's heart raced. He looked at Lyra, then back at the council, and said quietly, she's not dangerous, she only needs to cling. Without it, she cannot survive. Laughter broke from one of the council members, sharp and cruel. You expect us to believe that a war-bred alien is using you as some kind of blanket. But Lyra's eyes burned. She stepped forward, still holding Daniel's hand, her voice rising. You mock what you do not know. My people cling or we break. War destroyed us. I am last. I chose him. I cling to life. The room fell silent at her words, her broken English heavy with truth. Yet the silence was not comfort. It was tension, a storm waiting to break. The council whispered among themselves. Then one declared, this cannot be allowed. She is not one of us. She may endanger the colony. She must be separated from you, studied. Contained at those words, Lyra's body stiffened. Her arms wrapped around Daniel like steel chains, her voice sharp and shaking. No, they take me, I fight, I break. I will not leave. The guard stepped forward. Weapons ready, but Daniel moved in front of her, his voice trembling. Stop, please. She's telling the truth. She's not here to fight. She just needs someone. The standoff held heavy silence. And in that silence, Daniel saw the divide clearly. On one side, human fear and control. On the other, alien desperation and survival. And in the middle himself, a single man caught between two worlds. He realized then that he was no longer just a witness. He was her shield, her proof, her only chance. The council finally ordered. We will decide her fate soon. Until then, she stays under watch. But Lyra refused to leave Daniel's side. She clung to him in front of everyone. Her voice low but fierce. They take me, I die, I stay with you. Always that night, back in his quarters, Daniel sat with his head in his hands, the weight of everything pressing down on him. Lyra, you don't understand. If you keep this up, they'll see you as a danger. They might try to lock you away or worse. She touched his face gently, her voice softer than ever. I know, but I fear the dark more. I fear losing you more, Daniel. I cling. I survive, and with you I feel safe. Her words tore at him. The human side of him wanted freedom, peace, a normal life without eyes watching him, but another part, the part that felt her trembling at night, that saw her haunted dreams, could not let her go. He was trapped between loyalty to his people and compassion for her. The stars outside burned quietly. The station floated in silence. But inside Daniel's room, two lives clashed. Against the rules of the colony, one human and one alien bound by need. And as Lyra clung tighter, whispering that she would never let go, Daniel realized this was no longer a secret he could control. It was a storm ready to burst across the colony, and when it did, nothing would ever be the same again. The council argued for days, voices rising in closed meetings, rumors spreading through the halls of the colony like fire in dry grass. Some humans feared Lyra, calling her a danger. Others whispered about her beauty and her strange loyalty to Daniel. But no one truly understood her. No one but him. Daniel lived each night with her arms wrapped around him, her body trembling less now, her breath steady when she felt his warmth. Yet the tension outside their door grew heavier every day. Then came the alarms. The station shook under a sudden impact. Red lights flashed across the corridors and a voice rang through the speakers. Warning, unknown vessels approaching. Prepare for possible attack. Daniel's heart dropped. He had heard of raiders in these sectors, merciless scavengers who destroyed colonies for resources, and this time they had found them. Humans rushed to defense posts. Guards ran with weapons. Families hid behind sealed doors. Daniel tried to follow orders, but Lyra stood in his way, her silver eyes blazing. "You stay close," she said, gripping his arm. "I protect." Daniel shook his head. "No, you can't. This isn't your fight." But she stepped closer. Her voice filled with steel. "It is, they come for blood. I know them, I feel them, you stay with me. Or you die." Before he could answer, the station rocked again. Metal screamed under the pressure of weapons striking from outside. Daniel stumbled, but Lyra held him steady, her strength unshakable. Guards rushed past their room, stopping in shock at the sight of her. "The alien, she's loose," one shouted. Weapons raised. But before they could fire, another explosion ripped through the hallway. Debris fell, smoke filled the air, and out of the fire shadows moved. Enemies had already boarded. The raiders were tall, armored. Carrying brutal weapons, they stormed the corridor, striking down anything in their path. The guards tried to fight, but they were outnumbered. Daniel froze, fear choking him. But Lyra stepped forward, her voice a low growl. "Stay behind me." What happened next stunned everyone. Lyra's body glowed brighter, silver light flooding the corridor. She moved faster than human eyes could follow, striking the raiders with strength far beyond her frame, each blow sending them crashing into walls. Her arms moved like blades, her grip like iron, but even as she fought, she never let Daniel out of her reach. One hand always keeping him close, one arm always ready to pull him back if danger drew near. The guards stared in shock. One whispered, "She's saving us," but fear still lingered in their eyes. When the last raider in the hall fell, smoke curling from broken armor, Lyra turned back, her breathing heavy, her arms trembling. Yet she clung to Daniel as if he was the only thing keeping her standing. "You see?" she whispered, her voice weak but proud. "Cling is not weakness. Cling gives me strength." Daniel held her, his heart racing. She was right. Her bond was no prison. It was power. Her need to cling gave her focus. Her desperate attachment fueled her fight. And somehow he was the key to it, but he also saw the danger. If the council had feared her before, now they would see her as both savior and threat. Too strong to ignore, too strange to control. The attack did not end quickly. The raiders pressed harder. The station shuddered again and again. Alarms wailed, families cried, guards fell. Daniel and Lyra fought side by side, every moment pulling them closer. At one point, a raider's blade swung toward Daniel. Too fast for him to dodge, but Lyra's arms wrapped around him, shielding him with her body. The blade struck her back, sparks flying, and she gritted her teeth but did not let go. "You are mine," she hissed, pushing the enemy back with a roar. "No one takes you." Daniel's fear turned to something else, something deeper. This alien who had once been only a strange intruder in his bed was now his shield, his protector, his bond. And yet, as he looked into her glowing eyes, he saw exhaustion, her strength fading each time she clung tighter, each time she fought to keep him safe. When the battle slowed, when the raiders retreated for a moment, regrouping outside the station walls, Daniel sat with Lyra in the corner of a smoking corridor. She leaned against him, her silver skin dimmer than before, her voice soft. "They will come again, more stronger, but I stay, I fight, if I cling. I do not break." Daniel touched her hand, unsure if it was comfort for her or for himself. "We'll face it together," he whispered. In that moment, he realized the truth. The greater threat was not only the raiders outside, it was the fear inside the colony, the fear of her, the fear of what she represented. But to Daniel, she was no monster. She was no danger. She was his strange protector, his impossible companion, the one who turned fear into strength. As the station lights flickered and the next wave of alarms sounded, Lyra pulled him close, whispering with fierce devotion, "Stay with me, Daniel, and I will protect you all." And Daniel knew, whether the colony accepted it or not, the fate of everyone here now rested in the arms of the alien who clung to him every night. The station walls still shook from the last attack. Smoke lingered in the air and broken panels sparked in the corridors. Humans whispered in fear, some praising Lyra for saving them, others demanding she be locked away before she destroyed them all. The colony was no longer united. It was split in two. Daniel walked with her through the ruined halls, her hand gripping his arm tightly, her body trembling with exhaustion, yet her eyes never left the shadows, always watching for the next threat. Everywhere they went, eyes followed them, whispers grew louder. She's dangerous. She saved us, she'll betray us, and she's not human. The words cut into Daniel like knives. He could not stop them. He could only keep walking. That evening, the council called another meeting, the chamber filled with fearful faces. Guards stood ready with weapons, and Lyra sat at Daniel's side, refusing to let go. The council leader spoke coldly. Your alien defended the colony. Yes, but she also endangered it. She cannot remain free. She must be placed under control. Lyra's arms tightened around Daniel, her voice low and sharp. They chain me, I fight. I will not be caged. The room filled with shouts, some siding with her, others demanding her removal. Daniel rose to his feet, his voice shaking but firm. She saved us when no one else could. She's not the threat here. The raiders are. But his words did little to calm the storm. Fear is louder than reason, and fear was spreading like poison. That night, Lyra clung to him with more desperation than ever, her breath shallow, her skin dimmer than before. They want to take me, Daniel, I feel it. They whisper behind doors, they plan chains, I cannot. I will die. Daniel stroked her hair gently, torn between two impossible choices. I won't let them, he whispered. Though doubt burned in his chest, her trembling eased at his words. Her grip loosened just slightly. Then I fight with you. Always. The next attack came sooner than anyone expected. The raiders returned in greater numbers, breaking through outer defenses, their ships clawing at the station like wolves tearing into prey. Alarms screamed, lights flickered, and fear consumed every corridor. This time humans looked to Lyra, some begging her to protect them, others cursing that they had to rely on an alien at all. She stood at Daniel's side, her silver glow brighter than ever, her voice steady. I fight because I cling, because I will not lose him. Together they faced the raiders, her arms always pulling Daniel close, her strength unleashed with every strike. But each battle drained her. Every clash left her weaker, though she never admitted it. Daniel saw it in her eyes, the way her glow dimmed, the way her steps faltered when she thought no one noticed. He knew the bond that gave her power was also tearing her apart. When the fighting slowed, Daniel tried to convince her to rest. Lyra, you're pushing too hard, you can't keep this up. But she only shook her head, clinging tighter. If I stop, they win. If I let go, I break. You are my strength, Daniel. Without you, I am nothing. Her words carved deep into him. He wanted to free her from this burden, yet she refused to be free. The colony grew restless. Leaders whispered of turning her over to the raiders as a bargaining chip. Others whispered of hiding her, using her strength as a weapon until she broke. Daniel overheard these whispers, his stomach twisting in rage. They did not see her as a person, only as a tool or a threat, and yet, when he looked at her, all he saw was someone who clung to him not for power but for survival. One night, after another battle, Lyra collapsed in his arms, her glow flickering weakly, her voice faint. Daniel, don't let go. If you let go, I die. Daniel held her tighter, fear crashing through him. I won't, I promise. I won't ever let you go. Her eyes closed, but a small smile touched her lips. Then I fight again. For you. For us. The bond was no longer only hers. It was his too. He felt it deep in his chest. Each night he needed her warmth as much as she needed his. Each day he fought for her right to stay, to live, to cling. But the storm outside was growing. The raiders would return stronger. The council would grow bolder, and sooner or later, Daniel would be forced to choose between his people and her. The stars outside burned cold. The colony walls groaned, and in his arms, the alien girl clung to him with all the strength she had left, and Daniel knew the real battle was not with the raiders, but with fear itself, and the only way to win was to hold on. No matter the cost, the colony stood on the edge of ruin. The walls cracked from endless attacks, supplies running low, and hope slipping through trembling hands. The people no longer whispered in the halls, they shouted, argued, fought. Some demanded Lyra be surrendered to the raiders. Others begged her to save them again. The divide had grown into a wound that could not heal. Daniel stood in the middle of it all, Lyra clinging to his arm like a shadow made of silver light, her body weaker than before, her glow dimmed, yet her eyes still burned with fierce devotion. She whispered over and over, I cling, I fight, I protect. But Daniel saw the truth in her trembling hands. She was running out of strength. The raiders came one final time, their fleet larger than ever, their weapons tearing through the outer defenses like paper. Alarms howled through every corridor. Families screamed, soldiers fell back, and the colony shuddered as if the void itself was trying to swallow it whole. The council gathered in panic. Their leader shouted, "We cannot win, surrender her. Give them what they want. Maybe they will spare us." Lyra's grip tightened on Daniel, her voice sharp as broken glass. "No, they take me, they destroy, I will not go. I fight to the end." Daniel turned to the council, his voice rising for the first time with pure fire. "She is not your bargaining chip. She is not your weapon. She is alive, she is part of us, and she will fight because she chooses to. Not because you demand it." The council faltered, but the raiders gave no time for debate. They broke into the station, flooding the halls like a tide of iron, their leader towering above the rest, armored and cruel, his voice echoing through the comms. "Give us the alien, or we burn you all." The guards raised their weapons, fear in their eyes. But Daniel stepped forward with Lyra at his side, his voice steady though his heart thundered. "You'll have to go through us first." Lyra's silver glow flared brighter than it had in days, light spilling into every corner. She pressed her forehead against Daniel's for a brief second, whispering, "Hold me, don't let go, together we are stronger." And then she launched forward, dragging him with her, their bond a single flame against the dark. The battle was chaos, the raiders surged, the humans fought back, and in the center of it all, Lyra moved like lightning, her strength fueled by every heartbeat she felt against her chest. Every breath Daniel took beside her, she struck down enemies with blinding force, her arms always circling back to cling to him, never letting him slip away. For every strike she gave, Daniel shouted to guide her, to steady her, to remind her that she was not alone. They fought not as two separate beings, but as one bond made flesh. The raider leader stepped forward, massive and brutal, his weapon raised high, his voice filled with rage. "You are nothing but prey." But Lyra's eyes glowed with burning fire. She wrapped both arms around Daniel, pulling him close, and whispered, "Then prey becomes predator." Her body erupted with silver light, brighter than stars, her strength surging beyond anything she had shown before. The leader's weapon crashed down, but she caught it with one hand, her other arm clutching Daniel like her life depended on it. With a roar, she broke the weapon in half, the shockwave throwing the raider leader to the ground. Silence fell across the battlefield. The raiders froze, fear flooding their ranks. They had come expecting easy prey, but what they saw was something else entirely, an alien and a human bound so tightly that nothing could break them. One by one, the raiders retreated, dragging their leader back, their voices filled with panic. Monster, ghost, untouchable, until their ships vanished into the void, leaving the station scarred but alive. Silence followed, heavy and endless. Humans stared at the glowing figure who clung to Daniel, her chest heaving, her glow fading, but her arms never letting go. Daniel held her tightly, his voice soft but firm. "You did it, Lyra. We did it." Her lips trembled into a faint smile. "Not me, us, always us." The council had no words. The people had no arguments. They had seen her fight not as a weapon, but as a protector, not as a danger, but as a bond still. Fear lingered in their eyes. Though now mixed with awe, Daniel didn't care. Their judgment meant nothing. What mattered was the girl in his arms, trembling but alive, clinging to him with every bit of strength she had left. That night, when the alarms went silent and the fires were put out, Daniel lay in his quarters, Lyra wrapped around him as always, her breath steady against his neck, her voice a whisper drifting into the dark. "I cling, not because I must, but because I choose. You are mine, Daniel, and I am yours." His eyes closed, a soft smile on his face. "Then stay. Always stay," he whispered back, outside. The stars burned cold and endless, but inside that small room, warmth bloomed brighter than any sun. For the galaxy, she was an alien who clung for survival, but for him she was more. She was his shield, his strength, his impossible comfort. And as he drifted into sleep, one truth echoed louder than all the fear and battles. In her arms, he was her soft toy, but in truth, she was his shield against the stars.